Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Note Wealth Wisdom. Today, I have the privilege of having Mr. Patrick Franz on here today. He's going to impart some of his wisdom and knowledge on us. Patrick is both a Note Investor University mentor and a coach. He's one of my personal mentors, and I consider him a good friend. He's also got quite a presence on YouTube. Public speaking, he does a little bit of everything. Fund manager, so Patrick wears a lot of hats. Patrick, I appreciate you being on here today, and I'll let you introduce yourself, and then I got a couple questions for you.
Thank you so much for having me on, David. It's a pleasure to help guide you, I guess. I hate to say mentor, but to help to guide you and inspire you and help you out and others too in this industry to try to get something we call financial freedom. So I'm like ecstatic that you are making moves. You're out here willing to put on these shows, get through hosting a Zoom call, record these things, invite your guests on. And it takes sometimes a lot for somebody to get going like you have. And it just makes me happy to see you going and moving forward in this industry. I'm glad to be a part of it. So of course I'm glad to be a part of your show. So when you asked me, hey, would you be on my show to talk a little bit about investing, a little bit about life, a little bit about notes, whatever it may be, I said 100%, man. I'll be your huckleberry. So here I am. And yes, I appreciate the opportunity to be on here, help you and watch you grow, David, in this industry. So anything you need from me, I'm here. And if you have questions or something like that I can answer, then go ahead and shoot them over.
Well, I appreciate your time too and help me with this. Maybe you could share with my viewers just a little bit of your background. I know you were in sales to begin with, had wore quite a few hats in that, and then how you graduated from that position into the note investment space, and from the note investment space into fund manager, and from fund manager to apartment developer. I think it's a fascinating story, and I know a lot of people can relate to that. So
yes.
Expand on that a little.
No problem at all. No problem at all. You know, I think that I have a story a lot of people can relate to, that it wasn't for lack of effort or for lack of get up and go. There wasn't a lack of motivation I didn't have. I was a hustler. I was trying to work several different types of sales jobs, all the way through to, multi-level marketing companies, to me being an inventor of my own product and trying to change the world with an invention in that. And I have patents in my name. I just tried so much because I was always on the hunt for something that I was missing. And the something that I was missing was that I had, just like all of us, had spent my whole life trading my time and my energy for money. And I know that inherently as human beings, we find something inherently unnatural about the lives that we're living, right? And inherently unnatural about it. It's like, we got to be indoors under lights and doing a job and working and laboring all day long and all this other stuff for the little bit of money to survive a life that really doesn't seem like the life we'd really think we deserve. It's just this big, you feel like you're just in this never ending, you're running on a rat wheel, right? A mouse wheel. It's not, you're trying, but you're just not getting ahead. And I felt like that was my life. And I tried every darn cool concoction of a thing, sales management, go down the board, right? I was trying to do everything I could. And it wasn't until about 2018 that I found out about mortgage note investing. And of course, prior to then, I had no idea what that meant. No clue, right? I kind of knew what a mortgage was because I had one. I owned a house and I paid a payment to Wells Fargo every month because I had a home loan, So I understood it to that capacity, but that was about as far as I understood. And when my mentor came into my life and said, man, I think that with your background and you definitely don't have any lack of hustle, and you certainly want more for your life and all of that. And so you kind of fit the bill to where maybe you should learn about mortgage notes and what kind of an opportunity they can present. And it all kind of began there, man. And when I found out about mortgage note investing, and I guess understood finally the actual opportunity they present for a path to financial freedom, I kind of was, I was one of those crazy guys that I went all in, you know? Right. So talking about my story, not to get all complicated with it, but like I went all in. I sold my house that I'd owned for 9 years. I moved my family. I got a place near my mentor so that I could make it convenient to get mentored in this space. I quit my 16 and a half year long career. I handed in the keys to my old job. I kind of put my life on the line for it because, in my opinion, David, there was always a place for me to go back to at the same level where I was at. So as a $100,000 a year sales manager for a fairly large company, my skills, my reputation, and my abilities in that industry had been solidified. So it's not like right today I couldn't go out to the marketplace to a business that needs to double their sales revenue and go in there and help them do that, right? That I have a skill of doing that for almost 20 years. So I thought, well, what do I really have to lose? The end all be all, I'm not going to be homeless because I know I'm a guy who could always make money. I'm good at sales. There you go. So that's my fail safe, right? Well, what do I have to lose? You know, and my mentor said something to me that I think a lot of people may understand. It just kind of hit home finally to me. But he said, you know, the next 3 years or the next 5 years, let's say, is going to go by no matter what. That's for sure. And the older we get, we realize that time sure does fly on by. And so when you think of the next 5 years going by no matter what, and going by very quickly, and you realize that there's some of us that will right now decide to stay where we're at. We'll decide to stay where we're living. We'll decide to stay with our current habits. We'll decide to stay with our current friends, our current job, our current surroundings, our current opinions, our current skills, our current knowledge base, and we stay there. And if it's not on purpose, people make excuses, but you know, we have a choice, so it's purposeful. If you want change and don't decide to make any, you're shame on you, right? And I was just at a point where I go, you know what? He's right. The next 5 years are going to fly by, and I could guarantee this is why it's so easy. There's no stress and there's no fear of failure here. I could guarantee that if I just kept doing what I was doing, that right now today I would still be the same sales manager making 100 grand a year, trading 10 hours a day of my life for it. I could guarantee I'd still be there unless I decided to make some drastic changes and take some risks. My risk wasn't so bad because I always know I have a fail-safe of being a salesperson or a sales manager, and I know I could always make a fair income wherever I'm plopped on the planet. But still, it's all scary. Moving, selling a home, making transitions, quitting a career, starting a new career, learning something new, stepping outside your comfort zone. This is all the stuff we're afraid of. But it's all the stuff that I did. And to summarize that transition, I'm so glad I did because I'm living proof that right now, today, I could still be stuck as the same salesman 5 years ago, and in just a 5-year time frame, because I decided to, my life has changed drastically for the better. And I could say drastically for the better financially. I could say drastically better spiritually, drastically better to how much I'm giving back to others on the planet, drastically different in all facets of life, and all for the better. None of the facets of my life have gone on a downhill slope over the last 5 years. And I just wanted people to know it's not a stroke of luck. It's not a stroke of luck. I really, really, and I like to say it this way, I really, 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 really wanted a change. And when you're that ready and you're willing to make some sacrifices and do what needs to be done, change will happen. Change will happen. It's purposeful. You can live your life by design if you decide to start designing it. Right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's what happened. And, you know, and then you go, okay, well, I got into the money business. So that's what happened. I got into the money business. 2018, I learned about it. 2019, I started crushing the note space, and we started buying first lien, performing, non-performing mortgage notes. And we started doing that, and we started having some great success, so forth. And that kind of just sparked me making relationships with different people. There you go. I started surrounding myself with different people and learning new skills and those things I like to talk about. And that opens up different opportunities for your life. And the fact that we are now building a buildings in Florida, and we're part of these land entitlements, and I'm helping run the Note Investor University to help change other people's lives. And all of this kind of stuff has been as a result of me making some minor changes 5 years ago and deciding to set myself on a different path. And there was no guarantees to that path.
Right.
And that's why we're all so afraid of it. We don't know what's at the end of the tunnel. But I guess my advice is that if you want change and you want something better, you got to just be brave enough to start taking step by step down that tunnel and go find out what's on the other side. It's not predictable who's going to cross your path. It's not predictable the relationships you're going to make. You can't judge what's going to happen. All you can judge is moving forward to see what will happen and take advantage of the best opportunities that come your way. That's all we can do.
I wanted to ask you a question, move back a little bit. You said you were utilizing buying performing and non-performing loans. I think a lot of my viewers wonder what this business I talk about, being a private lender. So in the process of you buying these performing and non-performing loans, I know you utilize private lenders. To what degree did you utilize private lenders? And it was a win-win for everybody. I mean, if I'd have known about this 20 years ago, I certainly would have been in that. But having just, learned about it recently, I think you can't go over it enough to give people an idea what they can do with their money that puts them ahead of the game.
Yeah. Well, financial intelligence is not taught. And so that's no bash against us as people. It's no bash against the system, right? We're not taught financial intelligence really. So when you do get a little bit of financial intelligence and you've learned something that can help to change your life for the better financially, then don't you have a fiduciary responsibility to share it with others? Certainly. And that's the good-hearted portion of all this. The other portion, which is the logical portion, is that, to get into good first lien mortgage notes, you're at 30, 40, 50 grand minimum,
right,
to get into one of these things. And so I don't care, even if you have $100,000 when you're starting out in this game, you're going to invest $100,000 really quickly. And then you'll have all this expertise in this niche category of buying mortgage notes. You'll have connections. You'll obviously have done some trades and you'll be in the game. And then all of a sudden you'll be illiquid, right? Meaning that the $100,000 that you had is not liquid investable capital anymore because now you've bought some notes with it. Right. So most folks run out of their own money real quick in the game. And so what we are trying to help people understand is to own a portfolio of mortgages, not just one or two, to own a portfolio of them, just like a bank would, and not quite as many as a bank might. I don't want to say, and God bless you if you can own a million mortgage notes, but no, own a portfolio of them. And that's how you can become financially free, because people tend to pay their mortgages, David, right? And that's what we tell people. People tend to pay their mortgages. And so it creates pretty steady monthly cash flow, right? Without the headaches of being a landlord. So it's kind of the easy way to do it and the protective way to do it, like a bank does. And so buying these first lien notes means that I'm in first lien position and I'll be the first to get paid if disaster occurs. And that's what we started to concentrate on. Performing loans being that someone's living there paying the mortgage on time every month. Right. Non-performing loan meaning someone is there or it could be vacant, but the mortgage has not been paid and it's in delinquency status. And I can invest in both of those for different types of exit strategies and so forth. But the bottom line is, back to your private lending game, is that I can't buy all of them with my own money because I don't have enough money. And literally you could have $1 million and still you could buy some notes and be illiquid pretty quickly. You could buy $1 million worth of notes, no problem, right? So the theory came in of private lending. Well, to explain to some of your listeners, it'd be as if you and I started a house flipping company. And the asset that we were utilizing as our investment strategy was to buy an old crummy house and fix it up nice and sell it for profit, right? Well, what if you and I had all the skills to do all that, but we didn't have enough money to buy all the new flooring and the cabinets and the paint and the base moldings and stuff from Home Depot to get the job across the finish line? Well, you and I may go out to people that have some money to lend. They're looking for a good place to put their money for a nice return on investment. And me and you might use our current house flip project as a way to get a lender. Say, hey, maybe you could lend us $50,000 so that we could go buy all the cabinetry and flooring and base moldings and paint. You and I will use our skill sets to push this project over the finish line, and we'll flip this house and it'll make profit. And then you can share in some of that profit as being the private lender in the deal, and we'll all win, right? We need a little bit of money from you to push our house flip across the finish line, and you're looking for a good investment with some good people and a good project, right? And so people understand that because they understand the house as being the asset and then improving the value of that house and sell it for more money. And people understand that concept. We're doing a very similar thing, but we're using our mortgage note as the asset. And we're able to take a mortgage note in our portfolio and leverage it by borrowing money from a private lender. Maybe somebody, David, that doesn't want to go through all the schooling like you're going through. Somebody doesn't want to become an expert note investor like you and have to know all the due diligence practices and go through all the heavy lifting. Somebody maybe that runs a dental practice. They're busy, okay? But they might be looking to put $50,000 or $100,000 of their capital to work somewhere with somebody who's very trustworthy like yourself into a mortgage note deal versus a house flip deal. So it's a different type of asset, right? But so if folks want to be a private lender to someone like yourself and let you handle all the expertise and so forth that you're good at, it's a very secure position for them, right? And it makes a win-win situation. Sometimes I'm not liquid to take down a really good deal, but I see that it's a really good deal, so I don't want to pass up on it entirely. So I would rather actually give someone a piece of it. I would rather have somebody lend me some money, me pay them a great return on their money to help me push the deal across the finish line, if we're using the house flip example. But we're just working with paper, right?
Right.
Sometimes we don't even have to physically go and visit the house. No. So that's why it's a cool thing.
Yeah, and it's like, it's really no different. I share my money with my mechanic who shares his knowledge with how to fix my car. You have a specific knowledge that you're willing to share with people, and you should be compensated somewhat for that. And if it makes them money, it just seems to make perfect sense to me.
I'll tell you a perfect example, David. And a matter of fact, if you want to have a laugh about it, my dentist that I go to get my teeth cleaned and get my dental work done, my dentist is a note investor with me, a private lender to my business, and invested a little bit of money in my fund. And so, listen, I'm not trying to fix my own teeth. Can we be fair? It'd be a disaster. Okay. There's a reason we trust the dentist who knows the tools and has the skills and knows what to do. Right. Been there, done that. So I go to him to get my teeth done. And well, he is so busy being that dental expert that I go to for his expertise to get my teeth done. He's so busy doing that he don't have the time to be an expert at building apartments or an expert at buying portfolios and mortgage notes like me. Don't we become a perfect match for one another in many ways? So that's just it's really how it is. And so private lending to a note investor puts a private lender in a very good position, generally a better than average return, not subject to the fluctuations of the stock market or the real estate market. And it can be very hands-off and very passive. So it's a really awesome thing. And for us to utilize a private lender is also a win, right? I mean, at the time, like I said, when I see a really good deal come across my desk and I have the ability to buy it, and I'm not liquid with my own capital at the moment, I mean, it's disheartening to see it slide off my desk and somebody else buy that. And I'd rather let somebody else come in with some funding so that we can do it together and we can both benefit from a good deal. And I'll let them utilize my expertise if we can win-win situation this thing out, and I can maybe use some of their funding.
Right. So I love the explanation. And I think people think maybe there's a security issue, and the security is in the property itself. It's in the deal structure itself. It's in the documents that are prepared. They're as protected as anything I can think of.
Sure.
You have no guarantees with Wall Street or mutual funds. Crypto, we know how that ends up one day from another. And the other thing is the hands-off management. No tenants, no toilet, no trash, no maintenance. And they know what they're going to get. They know what their returns are going to get from the start of that note to the finish of it. And it doesn't fluctuate. Yeah. So that's the thing that appeals to me.
And it should appeal to a lot of people. I mean, the bottom line, and I love the statement, what you don't know, you don't know. Right.
Don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. And so, we all as human beings are trying to do the best with the information that we have at our behest. And I thought I knew everything. I was in venture capital, I was in startup companies, I was in raising things, I was in selling, I was in all, and I thought, boy, I know so much. I was very knowledgeable. But prior to 2018, I did not know that you could invest into a mortgage note. So obviously prior to 2018, I would have had some sort of opinions otherwise. But after 2018, when I had the knowledge that you could invest into a mortgage note, it changes your perspective of things. And then I knew that you could, and I knew that it was a great investment, and I knew that it was awesome, and I knew that banks did that. See, banks own portfolios of mortgages. They don't own millions of rental properties.
Right.
Can you imagine Wells Fargo owned 1.7 rentals?
Yeah, well, your mortgage would be higher.
I mean, 1.7 million rentals. The headache involved with the property upkeep and managing the property managers and the phone calls from the tenants and oh God, it's just too much. But they could own 1.7 million mortgages. Why? Because there's a homeowner living there. And so the home is their responsibility. The banks are all about control everything, don't own any of it.
Exactly.
And there's something to that. And so if you could imagine stepping into the bank's shoes, your listeners, right? Or your watchers. But if you could have them imagine stepping into the bank's shoes and being able to then now play under the rules that the banks have played under, because the banks have written those rules for themselves.
Right.
So you get to play under the bank's rules, and it's just collecting someone's mortgage payment, man. Like, it's not a mystical thing. It's that you have their home as collateral because a homeowner pledges their home as collateral for a home loan. That's the way the system works. So the home is the collateral, and you're collecting monthly passive cash flow by way of mortgage payment from a homeowner versus simply comparing it to having a rental house and there's a tenant in there paying you rent every month. It's just versus, right? It's like you're still collecting the monthly passive cash flow from a piece of real estate somewhere in the country. Right. That doesn't change. But I'm collecting it by way of mortgage payment in the bank's shoes versus other people collecting it in way of rent payment from a tenant in a landlord's shoes. And so when we understood the difference of those dynamics, and there are pros and cons to each, let me be fair. I'm not trying to say that house flipping or owning rentals is a bad thing. Okay. It's all good. I'm just saying we figured out that notes was much easier, path of least resistance. You could own more of them. It was easier to do, easier to manage. They're more liquid. They're easier to buy. They're easier to sell. I mean, so are we not human beings path of least resistance oriented? And so it's like, well, once we figured out an easier path, then we ran with it. And so the reason why, I'm proud to see guys like you coming up is because, look, man, there was so many books and so many mentors, especially my personal mentor in this space, that knew a heck of a lot more about this stuff than I did. And when I found out about it in 2018, I started going heavy in 2019. I really had to learn from a lot of different people that were willing to take me under their wing, that were willing to show me and answer crazy questions 10 different times because my little brain couldn't understand it and all those things. And I'm grateful to them because I wouldn't be where I'm at today without them. Now, does that put me in a position now where if I'm having successes with all of this and I've learned so much and I've changed so much and I've become a new person, then I need to be able to spill all of that into other people. It's just like you want to do. Right? I want more dentists and more chiropractors to know that rather than having their money in a money market account or parked in an IRA or mutual fund that has horrible returns and all that, that there's a better option for them. I just want to, we want to just spread the good news, right?
Yes. Yeah, I see where interest rates are popping up a little bit in the banks and whatever, and I kind of take note of it. And I'm thinking, man, we could still beat that hands down on any given day. And it's like they come up 0.5% and make a big deal out of it. Oh, look what we can give you. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Well, it's so funny too when I look at, okay, let's just say there's no better returns. This is one of my arguments, David. I say, what if you were able to make 9% per year on average in the stock market and you had your money in there for 10 years? Do you think along that 10-year time frame, when you're counting on the 9% per year every year of growth, that there could be some crazy ups and downs along the way that might cause you stress and lose you sleep at night and all this other crazy stuff that happens emotionally and inside of us? And then hoping that at the end of the 10 years, when we average all the stress out, that we can look at it and say we at least made 9% per year, right? Or I say, what if you were involved in a mortgage note investment that you were making 9% per year? Right. There's no difference in the return. It's the same. But with a mortgage note, there's no ups and downs, there's no stress, there's no fluctuation, and there's none of that. It's just passive monthly cash flow that comes on the 3rd or the 15th or whenever someone's mortgage payment is generally due.
No management fees either.
And also, that being said, let's say it's the same return. Okay.
Yeah.
But then let's even say this: in a mortgage note investment, there's potential upside because a mortgage note has collateral. Right. The stock market does not have collateral. So you're also just hoping and banking on the fact that after the 10-year mark is up and you want to pull your money out, that at that time the stock market is up. Right. It's not way down when you need to pull your money out, right?
Right.
So, I mean, there's potential upside with note investing. There's not much potential downside if you buy right and you do due diligence correctly. It's a steady yield. It's stress-free. And when you start to line those things up, you go, damn, note investing is the bee's knees. And so therefore, it does require a lot of expertise like you're going through, David, to become a pro at all of this. And that's why, like you said, back to the private lending game, there's dentists and chiropractors that are not going to take the time to become an expert note investor, but realize the beautiful investment vehicle that note investing is.
Right.
And you guys make a good team up, right? You need some more capital to buy some more of these notes because you want a big portfolio of them. That's your game. And their game is to make plenty of money helping people fix their beautiful teeth like my dentist does for me. And we can help each other out, can't we?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And we're running short on time. So if you don't mind, I think we'll wrap it up.
Awesome.
But I appreciate your time today. And maybe we can do this again here real soon and we can hit another topic that's been on my mind.
I would love to elaborate on some more stuff with you. I love to give back to the audiences that are watching these segments, and hopefully they are learning something or getting some value out of this. And yes, I would love to be on again, and we can delve into quite a few different things, I'm sure, David.
All right. Well, my contact information is on the screen. Folks, you want to get hold of me, and let's talk and see if we can work some things out. Once again, Patrick, thank you for your time. And God bless everybody. Appreciate your time. Thank you.